Hello everyone and welcome to Cappuccino with HR. My name is Rudi Bauer, and after 40 years in business, I'm 100% sure that the success of companies is directly related to the passion of the people working for these companies. With the Cappuccino of HR, we created a format where we really invite people, it's HR leaders, it's recruiters, it's talent acquisition guys, and we're talking about all the different kind of topics, and the range is going from AI, of course, to new work, to leadership, and all the challenges along the way. Yeah, hello and welcome to another episode of Cappuccino with HR. And today I have a really wonderful guest. It's Christine Regitz, and she's head of SAP Women in Tech and president of the German Informatics Society. Hello, Christine. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thanks for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. I'm really excited.
And we are talking about a topic which is deep, which is also based deep in my heart, so to say, because I think we are talking about women in tech. We are talking about what does it mean. I mean, Christina, I think you're working since many, many years on this topic, and I think it's also a heart and soul thing for you. But before we start, I really want to ask you to briefly introduce yourself in a few sentences for our audience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as you said, I'm Christine, and I have two main topics in my life. So I'm working for SAP, so I earn my money with SAP. I've been there for more than 30 years, major of the time in software development actually, and only now for more than 5 years. And I'm having a small team which is called SAP Women in Tech, and we are bringing our women on the stages, so we help our female experts to be visible. And in my private life, as you said, I'm the president of the German Informatics Society. I have a couple of other advisory board topics, so I'm really glad to be in that topic, and to also, that's my message, to help more women and to be a role model as far as I can. And I want to, motivate as much as I can other women to, join us in this area.
I think it's an amazing effort that you're putting in. And a second thing, which I have to ask all my guests, as it's called Cappuccino with HR, so I need to ask you that as well, is what's your favorite coffee, Christina?
It's a double espresso.
It's a double espresso, so
yes, without sugar.
just pure black as it comes out of
Yes.
the machine. So, yeah,
Right.
I love that very much as well. To jump into the topic, I mean, I was looking into some international studies, and honestly, I have a little bit the impression that the numbers are not really moving on. So the last figure that I found is that currently we are standing at 25%, 25 to 26% of all the tech jobs worldwide are held by women.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on this? Was there some progress in the last couple of years? Is it going slow? Is it going in the right direction? What needs to be done? I think it's a lot of questions now, but probably can take one after the other.
I think it's difficult if you look at the global perspective, because it's really depending on the area we're looking in. So, Central Europe is different from Eastern Europe. It's different probably from Asia, China, India. So what I'm really mainly looking at, although one of my heart is beating for India, I've been many times in India, so it's a great country. But from a Central European perspective, and especially from a, let's say, German-speaking countries perspective, really the needle did not change over the last, I would say, 40, 50 years. So if you look, the first female students in computer science were at the early 1970s. The number was around, I think, 15 to 17%. And today we have probably 24, 25% students which are female. So it's not really, I would say, if we go that pace for the next decades, it will take us, well, not decades, but more than 100 or 200 years until we reach parity, or at least close to parity. So the needle did not change. And I think in a lot of other countries as well, whereas as said, we have to really consider the different cultures, and it's depending a little bit on the culture. So you cannot compare it on a global level.
Is there a kind of country where you say that they are doing quite well in implementing that, getting that on track? Or
It's
in
a
Europe?
couple. So I've really tried to find out. There's not so much research done on this topic. So there's one. I think it's a UNESCO study. It's already a couple of years old, but they have compared female researchers in science. So it's not only engineering, so it's not only in the STEM area, but it's also in kind of areas like medicine. And interesting things they found out. So first of all, what we see in Europe is Eastern Europe. It's much more advanced because because coming from the world when we had the Eastern Bloc, still there was a clear indication that, let's say, a lot of women studied also something in the STEM area. I've talked to a couple of female colleagues from that area, and a lot of them explained to me, well, first of all, they started at school. Mathematics and STEM was really focused. And secondly, the moms nearly all had to work. So in the former Eastern countries, everybody had to work. So a couple of things came together. And so I see that this is having also had an advantage for the women. So in Eastern Europe, we can see this. Then we have a couple of real Asian countries where a lot of women study STEM, and they try to find out why. And sometimes it's also that they have either role models, or studying STEM, being an engineer means a clean office job, so that you can be in an office as a woman in a, let's say, clean area, in a protected area. So that's also something. And then we see, when I look at India, I said this is one of my favorite countries, you see that the women, or even the men, computer science or STEM, this is the future for them. So they are hungry to, becoming or having a better life. They are pushed also from their family. So this is a normal study for male and female, because this is the future. They know that technology is something which is definitely coming to stay. So I think there's a couple of things which I observe, and definitely there's not so much research on it, which I find a little bit sad, because I think it's worth investigating. But that's something. It's a little bit anecdotal what I have to tell you, but I think that's giving us at least an indication.
I mean, I found a small project in Poland where they really were able to increase the number from, I think it was 29 to 42% within that project landscape. And they did it by mentoring. And that would be my second question. How important is mentoring? How important is really taking women at their hands and bringing them closer to STEM?
Well, I think the question is when we kind of lose our young, even girls, for the topic. So, mentoring starts normally when you're already in your professional life. But I think what I observe is that we lose and I have, especially for Germany, I have that in my view, we lose the girls when they are becoming teenagers, roughly. So, and that's also one of the big things, the big concerns I have is because, and why are we doing this? Because there's no computer science related mandatory curriculum in schools. So depending in Germany on the state, you either have a couple of voluntary hours per week, but there's no curriculum change so that you have really mandatory computer science in the curricula of the schools. Even, I would just say, you could even start in kindergarten, because you have to catch the attention. You have to really kind of make this feel, and it's such a creative topic. So I think you can do so much already by playing around, because you can make things blinking, or you can, make, a little fountain, and you can program little, very small, Arduino computers. And this is something you can already do at kindergarten. You don't need to do a lot of, this is more like playing around and experimenting. And therefore, I think we missed this chance early in the education system to really make this a tangible, easy to understand topic, which is not rocket science, and that then the girls stay with it and say, I can do it, no problem. And it's really interesting, because you need a lot of creativity.
I mean, I fully agree, and I couldn't agree more to that, because I mean, we are dealing a lot with software developers. I mean, that's our core business, and what we see is that a lot of software developers are more or less autodidacts. So they don't even have studies. They just have this passion, and they see this kind of creativity. They see that you can solve problems for humans, that you are really able to bring a solution for a problem with just taking your brain, your knowledge, and putting the right things right together. And I think that has a lot to do with curiosity. It has a lot to do with staying agile. I mean, and I quite often stress this topic because I think it's the biggest blocking factor that I have experienced in my career. The biggest blocking factor that I see is that we have a lousy failure culture in Europe.
Yes.
So we are not really, I mean, we all want to be agile, but honestly, we do not want to make mistakes. And I think that doesn't work together. So agile means trial and error. It means trying out things and bringing them to life later on in the second run. Does that make a difference between men and women as well, from your point of view? This kind of being bold enough, being brave enough, being curious enough, is there a difference between men and women from your experience and point of view?
I don't think so. I think probably men and women have different purposes. So this buzzword, but and this is also what you can see. So women want to have a purpose. So they want to, actually they want to save world hunger, or they want to save climate change. So, and this is something it's a different purpose. So normally men have slightly different purposes, that they also want to save world hunger. Don't get me wrong, but I think the focus for women is a slightly different one. So they really want to help the humanity. And men are often more on the technical side. I want to solve a technical problem or a technical challenge. So that's a little bit the difference. And therefore, also for me, it's so important to say, also, what is a developer? A developer is not a programmer as such. No, that's the case. So because everybody thinks also computer science at school is programming, and I say no, programming is this little piece in the whole area, and that's also the issue for me. We really have to bring the professional life of a developer, of somebody in an IT technology company. We need to make this tangible, because this is much more. This is domain knowledge. This is, if you want to develop software for banks, you at least have to have an idea what the processes in a bank are. And you can only solve, I think, climate change if you really understand what the climate is and what the influencing factors are. And then also you need, let's say, a decent technical understanding, probably how to solve it. But this is sometimes not one person, but it's always teamwork. So that's the second thing. Developing things, it's not like, having a, nerdy guy in the cellar, doing programming with a Coke and a cold pizza. No, it's teamwork. It's always teamwork, because you cannot do it all alone. And the bigger, the task is, the more people you need to do the developing part. And that's something we're really bad in. So we cannot really translate the professional picture of a developer or what is needed, so that people can really understand, because it's not tangible. Building a car is tangible. So you can easily say, okay, I can imagine what you need to build a car. But to develop a piece of software which is not tangible, that's not so easy. And therefore, I think a lot of women don't understand that they are very well equipped to become a developer, whereas they think they need to have a study and 2 certificates in computer science and better in math and physics and whatever. And then they think they are not capable in doing it. And that's for me the big thing. So the real professional kind of picture of a developer, or what you need in a, let's say, in a software environment, it's not clear, and it's not easy to also translate.
I mean, I think we see that a lot of companies still have trouble in putting their EVPs right, to doing employer branding towards developers. And I mean, it's a kind of an employer branding thing, which is then needs to be changed. Do you think you need a kind of a different approach to attract with your EVP? Do you need a different approach to attract men or women?
I think so, because as I said, I think the purpose why somebody is choosing a profession or a study is a little bit different. So I think really you have to tell the women we are solving world hunger, and you can be part of that. And that's something women want to be. So, and I'm always talking, 80-20. So it's more that it's not 100% true,
Of
but
course.
in essence, that's and for a guy, it's more that you say, I want to make this software much faster, and the women have a little bit different purposes, and therefore also they need a different approach to get attracted. And also I think that teamwork is much more for women, because they want to work in teams. They don't want to be the single fighter, and they want I think also this is important. You have to attract them and saying this is normally your core competence. You can work in teams, and you're normally good in communicating. So you try to bring people together, and this is also a core of this job. So I think yes, I have seen a lot of also job openings where I said no women will apply for this job. Honestly, no. And then anyhow, if you look at the job postings, women have the tendency to really have the approach to themselves that they need to fulfill all criteria. So if you have 10 criteria there, women will tell you, oh, okay, I'm only not 2. I'm totally not capable of doing it. So no, 8, it's not enough. So I will not apply. Yeah. A man will see 10 and he's, well, I have only 7, which I capable. Then I'm the guy, because the 3 one, I will, no problem. And but again, black and white. But that's also something where we need to work on, and where we coming back to mentoring is something where we really can push the women and say, yes, you're only fulfilling 70% of what is needed. But honestly, either the job posting is anyhow the maximum of all capabilities they want to have, or in essence, you can learn the rest of the, the 30% missing skills that you can learn. So that's something where we need really to push the women and say, please apply.
Another topic. I mean, if we make this stage and they apply and they are more or less hired, what I found, and that shocked me a little bit, I found that a study which said that many women leave tech mid-career because due to different kind of things that happen. So it could be lack of advancement, it could be work-life imbalance, or it could be a kind of hostile things in the organizations. What does that mean for leadership? If you build up mixed teams, what is the special situation that you then have to face? I mean, and especially I think in tech, it's probably a little bit different. I mean, we see that our audience, I mean, as much as we love our community, and I think, but we know that they are really critical. I always call it, they have a really developers. I don't mean coders alone. I mean I think it's the whole community. They have a really well working bullshit detector. I mean, that's aim of the nature. They are analyzing things. They are building things together. So they normally see behind the curtain. They are really good in looking behind the curtains as well. And they have curiosity to really put away all the boxes, to really find the last one in the corner. So, I mean, that probably makes them a little bit more critical than other ones in the organizations. But what's your take on that point?
I totally agree, and I think this is one of the major issues we as women are facing. So when we are really kind of already a little bit advanced and we have the experience, and we come into a meeting and 10 guys are sitting there, and they are kind of, first of all, marking their area and saying, this is my, and then you think, well, we are talking now 10 minutes about nothing, really nothing. Can we please come to the point? And that's really something which is annoying, and which is, for me, it was also hard, because I was really wasting my time, because these, guys, they just talk to each other and tell who was on which flight, and I could do a business trip, and there, and they're like, hey, we are talking something totally different. Can we please come to the topic? And that's something really hard to understand, but you have to understand, because this is how if you have many male colleagues in your team, they are kind of working like this, and it's not easy. I can understand this. And also, there's in German you have a saying, everybody already said something, but not everybody said the same, or I don't know the right translation, but you know what I mean. So everybody already said something, but not everybody to each topic. So, and that's what's happening, and that's really annoying, because the women are much more focused than on the topic. By the way, also here, this is a cultural thing. In other cultures, this is also different. So I think also probably this would also be worth looking at from a different cultural perspective.
Mm-hmm. And what is your tip to leadership, people in leadership roles, if they want to increase the female rate in their teams, how to address it right from the beginning? Is there a kind of, with your experience, with all what you have seen already in many years of your career, what you could give as a kind of initial 3 tips or 3 steps that needs to be taken?
I think the one major tip I always give is women want to be really asked. So it is very important to directly also ask them and encourage them. So, for instance, if you are in a manager position and you want to give a new project to somebody, and you have a woman you want to give it, and think, yeah, well, she's a great project lead, she can handle that. And you tell, you have a meeting with her saying, I have this project. This is challenging. It's a stretch for you, but you can make it. And she will tell you, are you sure? I don't know. I need to sleep over it. I will come back. So the male manager normally thinks, well, she's probably not interested. So, but the opposite is right. It's more that there's reassurance she's needing. So there's a lot of, let's say, a lack of self-confidence, and it's normal that women want to have reassured that they can do it. And they will have a lot of self-doubts. And I can tell you from my own career that I had the same issue, still have it. So I cannot really, strip it up completely. And that's a thing you have to understand. So when a woman tell you, oh, I don't know, or, she needs to have real reassurance from the manager. And that's also things when the women tend to go out, probably they have a child and they don't know if they want to come back, and then also to offer something, to say, you can make it, I'm sure, I believe in you, you can count on me, to have this assurance that the woman can have doubts, and that there's somebody who can be addressed when there's an issue. So that's what I experience. So if you want to give this project to a lady, the man would immediately say, I can take it, I will immediately. So, nah. So yeah, and don't think it's doubts. It is probably doubts, but it's not that the lady cannot do it, because if you think she can do it, that female project lead, she can do it. So help her to be confident and give her the confidence that she can make it, because she can, and don't think she does not want to. So sometimes you have to kind of push, and that's also my job in the last couple of years at SAP. It's the same when women want to enter the stage. So it's no women really, few women immediately raise hand when there's a kind of a big conference and to step on a big stage. So my main job is to push them and saying, this is your stage. You can go to. You are the expert. We train that you're a good speaker, but you are the expert. So no doubts that you can make it. And that's the one half of my job, is really pushing women on stage and saying, you can do it. You will do it. And don't let them go. Don't let them find excuses.
Mm-hmm. I love the term reinsurance. I think reinsurance could really make it, if you take that in your mind as a leader, to give this kind of reinsurance. I think I really love this term. I think this describes it extremely well. Just to give this kind of last 2% of security back to the person, telling her, you can do it. Yeah, I trust you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also trust. It's signaling trust. Yeah, and I think that's important.
That's important, absolutely, and that's the confidence. So, and that there's somebody, because women have to talk a lot. So also to tell, if you have any question, come to me, no problem. You can ask any question. So to give this trust also, that in case you're there to support and to normally just to reassure as well that, if the lady comes back and with a question, she normally also has already the answer. She just also needs only here a reassurance that this answer is, yes, let's give it a try.
As we are having, and I don't mean that in any sense negative, as we have two species now in the labor markets. Yeah, so we are talking about men and women, and it's already complicated. It's very difficult for leaders to handle it, right? Now there's a third species showing up at the screens. It's called AI. What's your take on if we add another one to the game?
I actually, from a leadership perspective, I do not mind too much because in the end, AI is at the moment, at least, it's a very neutral agent. So, and for instance, also for me, I like to chat with that agent. So I, having some more thoughts, when I'm structuring something. So I'm not too worried. Nevertheless, we need to consider that we cannot predict the future, and there's so many things ongoing that I'm really curious what we will see in 1 or 2 years. So it's really fast. What will change in our lives, in our professional, but also in our private lives through AI and AI, especially AI agents.
And I mean, I think we are in this kind of situation that I was at a big HR conference. It was at Unleashed the last 2 days in Paris, and there was 8,000 HR people and a lot of tech companies, HR tech companies with really crazy solutions. And I mean, that showed me what it really showed again is we are in this conflict of being extremely tech oriented as organizations. On the other hand, we need to be extremely human. What's your take on how to get this balance right, and then add another level of complexity? It needs to fit for men and for women.
Yes, absolutely. I think, and I got a lot of questions, especially last year. We don't need coders or programmers anymore in the future. And computer science is not a field you should be in because that's all done by large language models. And I think, no. There. Well, first of all, developer is more than a programmer or a coder. Secondly, you have to still use your brain. So you have to validate things. You have to, give clear guidance. The prompt is nothing else than a clear guidance. And you have to really validate if the outcome is in a way you would have expected it. So that's also something which is very interesting. And therefore, I think the human at the moment will be still in the focus because you need this, the sense of, could that be right? Sense of, you test it, make that sense. And I think at the moment, the AI is just also an algorithm which is doing what the algorithm is told to do. And therefore, the human needs to really put the input in the right way and look at the output or the outcome in order to validate if that's something which is realistic, valuable, if this is correct. So, and this is something which at the moment, at least, AI will not handle for us. And therefore, that's for me the take. At the moment, AI, or especially many talk about large language models, but even the AI agents, it's algorithms and they do what they're told to do. So they're, and I don't know if the creativity you have as a human being can be replaced by AI. That's probably a question which is more philosophical, because if you're talking about like the serendipity effect, so the inventions which were done by chance. So a lot of medicine was, not invented on purpose, but by chance, because the researcher wanted to find something totally different and discovered, suddenly, I think penicillin was discovered in that way. So this serendipity effect, I don't know if an AI can really do this. Probably in the future, I'm really not sure. This is something where we need to have a real discussion with somebody who's deep in AI research, but I think that's at least a thought I have. And the second thought I have is still that a human being is more than it's more than physics. It's also biology and chemistry. So our hormones, this is chemistry. It's pure chemistry. All what is produced in your, in the oldest part of your brain, which you are controlled. This is also, why men and women are different, because also they have different kind of hormones. So testosterone is a classical male, and estrogen is a typical female hormone. Is hormone the right English word? I hope so. And therefore we are more than physics. We are biology, we are chemistry, and we are also driven by this kind of the recipes that are mixed in our brains. And therefore I don't know if AI will once handle this. Well, I'm not so deep in the AI research, but that's at least my thoughts I have as what's a human being. It's more than an algorithm.
With a short look on the stopwatch over there in the corner, I think we have to come to an end, but we could continue for hours, but probably there's another episode in the future. But I have two things which I really wanted to try with you. One is I found a study that said, okay, that companies that have really managed to bring up the female rate within their teams, the tech teams, this increased productivity and profitability by 25%. I really, as we are living in a kind of a world where shareholder value, profit and growth is always important, and there's nothing wrong with that, honestly, this should definitely be a kind of a wake-up sign to all leaders to really put a lot of effort into their organizations to increase the female rate within their tech teams, because 25% profitability is really difficult to reach in times like this. Have you made the same kind of experience as you're so long in the business? Have you got some examples in your personal environment where say, okay, I met teams and they did it right, and then now they increase profitability or progress or whatever?
Profitability is different, to measure in the real. If you're in a software developer's role, then it's more about, can you meet your, are you in quality, in time, in budget? So that's the things you normally have, and never compromise on quality. And what I have experienced is that the team itself is the key, and therefore you cannot underestimate how important it is to invest in the team itself, so that they respect each other, and that they are not a homogeneous team, definitely not, and that they are as heterogeneous as possible, but not too heterogeneous. So you also need not only male, female, you also need some, junior, senior people. And junior could also be a very old person, because also age is not a, let's say, yes, and therefore it's good to have a mixed team, but you also have to invest in the team building, team building, because they have to work together, they have to respect each other, they have to know the strength and possibly also the weaknesses of each other, and also have this in mind, and therefore that's the important second step. A heterogeneous team, plus having also always in mind to have team building frequently.
That's a good closing statement, I think. And I have a last one, and that's as the Cappuccino question. It's a regular one. If Genie with the magic lamp would come to you and he would offer you one wish, what would it be?
I have thousands wishes. My issue always was in life, I couldn't also say I want to study this or that. I'm interested in so many things. If I could have a wish, I would love to have, kind of clone me in a way that I can be in different places at the same time, because I want to be at that conference or at that and in this discussion, and I cannot often decide what is more interesting. So that's clone me, but keep me at the same time one person, but able to be at different places.
Spread out the wings everywhere.
Yes.
Christina, thank you so much for your time. It was a really interesting discussion. I really loved talking to you about this topic, which is also deep in my heart because I really see there's definitely need for that. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And thanks to the audience for listening, and I hope you enjoy the episode as much as I did during recording. So goodbye. See you. Stay tuned.
Thank you for watching Cappuccino with HR. If you enjoy this kind of conversations, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Then you get all this kind of upfront information, your upcoming episodes, and all my nice guests. Cappuccino with HR is brought to you by We Are Developers, Europe's #1 developer community and a leading platform for connecting HR and companies together with developers. If you want to learn more, visit us on wearedevelopers.com. Thank you again for watching and see you next time on Cappuccino with HR.